Hello YouTube. Today we're gonna take a look at this orchid. This is a rescue from maybe a year and 3 months ago. I went to a botanical garden, and at their gift shop there was this orchid. It was out of bloom. It was not blooming, and it was discounted, half price. Nonetheless, it was still a $10 purchase. Right now, it's being hung with a wire, and it's sitting in sphagnum moss. And as you can see, I've drill holes along the side for ventilation. Inside the media, it has some lava rocks. It's not just sitting in pure sphagnum moss. And the reason I am doing this video on this orchid is because it's actually doing really well since my move down to Texas. Two things really. This one really enjoys the warmer temperature, and I always give this one really wet and really dry cycle in between watering. And because recently I have added liquid seaweed into the fertilizer routine, so it's giving me quite a bit of growth. So it's working on a new leaf right now, but these two leaves are much bigger than this leaf right here. So it's definitely bouncing back if you take a look from the side. The bottom two leaves are skinnier and shorter, and they grew out last winter. Last fall and last winter in New York. So, but this leaf is quite old, and this one, I don't know what happened to it. This orchid came to me like this. So this is the biggest leaf, so I see its potential, but this one is what I call the manufactured leaf. Basically, it was receiving a very controlled environment with fertilizer, right? Because they were trying to get it to bloom. So they have a very calculated way of making sure the orchid is growing the biggest as they can. But in my environment, it grew out these two small leaves previously, and now the leaves are much bigger, thicker as well, wider and longer, and it's working on its new leaf in the middle. Now let's take it down. Oh, and this is just really an experiment to begin with, because at the time I did not want to put it into a regular clay pot, so I thought, you know what, I want to mount it. But then, because sometimes I do travel for an extended period of time, so if I mount it, that means there's no one watering this orchid every day, every other day. So I thought, you know what, I still want to because I really like how it looks when it's hung, and that's actually one of the things that draw me to this orchid growing hobby, is the way that they look when they're hung in their nature environment, or just the way that they're hung in the air, and the leaves just kind of, come down, and when there is a flower spike and and if there are flowers, that cascade look and feel just really speaks to me. Now let's take a closer look at the roots. I'm just gonna take the hook off. Oh, another thing, the reason I put this cup here is because when it's hung up high, right after the watering, sometimes the water drip, and this one just that cup here just helped me catches the water, so it's not really dripping anywhere. But then when I water it, or this orchid, I basically just put it in this cup put this in a cup, in another cup, and then just let it soak for, gosh, 10-15 minutes, whenever I can remember. And then I let it drain until there's no water dripping anymore. Okay, let's take a closer look at the roots here. The roots are doing really well. As you can see, the roots at the base, closer to the stem, are skinnier, and then gradually it just grows thicker and thicker, and very healthy root tip growing. This one, it's coming out of the pot, but there's nothing I can do about it, and I think this is, you know, one of the natural behavior for orchids that are mounted or hung. Their roots kind of just, you know, grow freely. I mean, I could eventually try to train it back into the pot, but I kind of don't want to risk breaking the root or snapping the root. So it's really, some of the roots are growing back into the media, so that's good. And this one came from the bottom of the base. This one came from the base, but it's circling in the pot. So overall, I would say that this one is doing really well. And the leaves are looking pretty good to me. So we'll see when this one will bloom. Hopefully, next spring we'll see the bloom of this one. And I actually don't know what the flowers would look like, because this one, like I said, is a rescue. And when I purchased it, the flowers were already gone. This one actually didn't even... I don't actually remember if I cut off the spike myself or they cut the spike and only sold this plant to me as is. Anyway, I just thought I would do a quick video to show you this one, because I don't remember I ever talked about this one. I might have briefly in the past, but you know, this video is a spotlight video for this orchid that's really doing good with its roots and leaf. I'm happy that it's happy. Okay, until next time, take good care of yourself and happy growing, as well as enjoy this hobby and enjoy your flowers. Ciao.